Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into a scenario that has fascinated humanity for centuries. What if no one ever died? Imagine a world where every person on Earth became immortal. How would society change? What would happen to our resources, relationships, and the environment? And most importantly, could we survive in a world of immortals? Let's break it all down. First, let's define what we mean by immortality. When we talk about immortality in this scenario, we're not just talking about a longer life or extending lifespan through advanced medical treatments. We're talking about complete cessation of natural death. This means that people would stop aging beyond a certain point, diseases would no longer be fatal, and death from old age would become a thing of the past. While accidents or other external factors could still potentially cause death, natural death would be eliminated. This might sound like a utopia, but the implications of such a drastic change are far-reaching and complex. Population explosion, a crisis in the making. The first and most immediate consequence of universal immortality would be an unprecedented population explosion. Currently, the global population is balanced by the natural cycle of birth and death. On average, around 140 million people are born every year, and nearly as many die. But in a world where no one dies from natural causes, the population would begin to skyrocket rapidly. Let's consider the numbers. The world population is already over 7.8 billion and climbing. If no one died, this number would continue to grow exponentially. Within just a few decades, Earth could be home to tens of billions of people. The resources required to sustain such a large population would be immense. Food, water, energy, and living space would become incredibly scarce. Food production, the strain on agriculture. To feed an ever-growing population, agricultural production would need to increase dramatically. However, the land available for farming is finite, and expanding agricultural lands could lead to further deforestation and habitat destruction. This would exacerbate the already severe environmental impacts of modern agriculture, such as soil depletion, water scarcity, and loss of biodiversity. Moreover, intensive farming practices could lead to overexploitation of the soil, reducing its fertility and making it more difficult to sustain high yields over time. We might see a rise in genetically modified crops designed to produce higher yields, but even this might not be enough to meet the demand. Hunger and malnutrition could become widespread issues, especially in regions that are already struggling with food security. Water is another critical resource that would come under intense pressure. Currently, about 2.2 billion people lack access to safe drinking water. In a world of immortals, this problem would be magnified many times over. The demand for clean water would skyrocket, and conflicts over access to freshwater resources could become more common. Desalination plants, which turn seawater into drinkable water, could become more prevalent, but these facilities are energy-intensive and expensive to operate. Additionally, the increased use of groundwater could lead to the depletion of aquifers, which are already being overused in many parts of the world. In regions where water is already scarce, the situation could become dire, leading to mass migrations and potentially even wars over access to this vital resource. Energy consumption would also rise dramatically as the population grows. Even with significant advancements in renewable energy technologies, it's unlikely that the current infrastructure could keep up with the demand. Fossil fuels might be relied upon more heavily to bridge the gap, leading to increased greenhouse gas emissions and accelerated climate change. The strain on the energy grid could lead to frequent blackouts and energy shortages, particularly in densely populated urban areas. Innovations like nuclear fusion, which promises nearly limitless clean energy, might become a necessity rather than a luxury. However, the development and implementation of such technologies would take time, and the transition period could be marked by significant challenges and disruptions. The environmental impact of immortality would be staggering. More people means more consumption, more waste, and more pollution. The demand for resources would drive deforestation, mining, and other extractive industries to new heights, leading to further degradation of the planet's ecosystems. The carbon footprint of billions of people living indefinitely would exacerbate climate change, pushing the planet's ecosystems to the brink. Rising temperatures could lead to more extreme weather events, sea level rise, and the loss of biodiversity on an unprecedented scale. Species that are already endangered might be driven to extinction as human expansion encroaches on their habitats. Oceans would suffer as well, with overfishing, pollution and acidification further threatening marine life. Coral reefs, which are already under threat from climate change and pollution, could be wiped out entirely, leading to the collapse of marine ecosystems that billions of people depend on for food. Social and cultural implications. How relationships would evolve. Beyond the environmental and resource challenges, immortality would also have profound social and cultural implications. In a world where no one dies, the concept of time would be fundamentally altered. Relationships, careers, and personal goals would take on new meanings as the pressure of a limited lifespan disappears. Marriage and family, redefining relationships. Marriage, traditionally viewed as a lifelong commitment, might lose its significance if life means forever. People might enter into shorter-term partnerships, or they could form entirely new types of relationships that we can't even imagine today. Serial monogamy might become the norm, with individuals choosing to have multiple partners over the course of their infinite lives. Family dynamics would also change dramatically. With multiple generations living indefinitely, the traditional family structure could break down. Children might find themselves living with parents, grandparents, great-grandparents, and beyond, all under one roof. This could lead to complex and potentially strained family relationships, as well as challenges related to inheritance, property rights, and family hierarchies. Career and work, a never-ending job market. The economy would be profoundly affected by the elimination of natural death. Currently, people work for a few decades and then retire, making room for the younger generation to enter the workforce. But in a world where no one retires, the job market would become incredibly competitive. Younger people might struggle to find employment, leading to frustration and social unrest. On the other hand, with centuries to develop skills and knowledge, individuals could become experts in multiple fields, leading to unprecedented advancements in science, technology, and the arts. However, these advancements might come at the cost of social stability, as the gap between the skilled and unskilled widens even further. The concept of a career might evolve into something entirely different, with individuals taking on multiple roles or switching professions throughout their eternal lives. Cultural evolution. The risk of stagnation. Immortality could also lead to cultural stagnation. With no one dying, the world's cultural and political leaders could remain in power indefinitely, leading to a lack of innovation and progress. Younger generations might struggle to make their voices heard, and society could become resistant to change. Art, music, literature, and other forms of cultural expression might stagnate as the same artists and thinkers continue to dominate the scene for centuries. On the other hand, the pressure to create something truly groundbreaking might lead to incredible works of art and culture, as people try to make their mark on a world where nothing ever changes. The question of legacy might take on new importance, with individuals striving to leave behind something that will endure, even in a world where they themselves never fade. Psychological impact, the burden of immortality. Living forever might sound appealing at first, but the psychological impact of immortality could be severe. Without the urgency of a limited lifespan, people might struggle to find meaning and motivation. The pressure to make something of your life might feel overwhelming when you have all the time in the world, leading to apathy and disillusionment. Mental health issues could become more prevalent as people grapple with the reality of never dying. Depression, anxiety, and existential crises could become widespread as individuals struggle to find purpose in an endless life. Therapists and mental health professionals would be in high demand, but they might also struggle to help patients who are facing problems that are entirely new to human experience. The loss of loved ones would still be a part of life, as accidents, violence, and other external factors could still cause death. The grief from these losses might be magnified in a world where death is otherwise rare, leading to deep emotional scars that are difficult to heal. The future of religion and philosophy, redefining belief. Immortality would also have a profound impact on religion and philosophy. Many religious beliefs are centered around the afterlife and the idea of life after death. In a world where death is no longer a certainty, these beliefs would be challenged. Religious institutions might struggle to adapt to a world where the promise of an afterlife is no longer relevant, leading to a decline in religious observance or the emergence of new belief systems that address the unique challenges of immortality. Philosophically, the concept of immortality would raise new questions about the nature of existence, the meaning of life, and the ethics of eternal life. Debates about the value of life, the pursuit of happiness, and the role of suffering in human experience would take on new dimensions in a world where life never ends. Could we survive? The ultimate question. So, could we survive in a world of immortals? The answer is complex and uncertain. While humanity might find ways to adapt to the challenges of immortality, the social, environmental, and psychological costs could be immense. The strain on resources, the impact on the environment, and the changes to our relationships and culture could make life in an immortal world incredibly difficult. In a society where no one dies of natural causes, we might see a deepening of inequalities. Those with access to resources could maintain their immortality more comfortably, while others might struggle to survive in an increasingly crowded and competitive world. Over time, this could lead to the emergence of a class system based not on wealth alone, but on the ability to navigate the complexities of eternal life. Governments and institutions would also face unprecedented challenges. Traditional social safety nets, like retirement pensions and healthcare systems, would need to be completely rethought. How do you provide for a population that never stops growing? How do you ensure that everyone has access to the resources they need to survive indefinitely? The political landscape could become more volatile as well. Leaders who were once elected for limited terms might seek to extend their influence indefinitely, leading to potential abuses of power and a lack of fresh perspectives in governance. Revolutions and uprisings could become more common as younger generations seek to challenge the status quo in a world where the old guard never steps down. The final consideration: is immortality worth it? As we've explored, the dream of immortality comes with significant challenges. While the idea of living forever might be appealing on the surface, the reality could be far less desirable. The social, environmental, and psychological consequences of a world where no one dies could make life increasingly difficult, even as individuals continue to exist. In the end, the natural cycle of life and death might be what gives our lives meaning and purpose. The knowledge that our time is limited encourages us to live fully, to make the most of our relationships, and to contribute to the world in meaningful ways. Without this natural cycle, we might find ourselves adrift in a world where the things that once mattered most, love, family, creativity, and personal growth, lose their significance. So, is immortality worth it? That's a question only you can answer. But as we've seen, the consequences of never dying might be far more complex and challenging than we've ever imagined. What do you think? Could you thrive in a world where no one ever dies? How would you handle the challenges of immortality? And do you think humanity could survive in such a world? Would you want to live forever, or do you believe that our finite lives are what give them value? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and as always, don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into the scenarios that could reshape our world. Until next time, keep questioning, stay curious, and appreciate the life you have, no matter how long it lasts. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.